Hello boys, this is Coach Andy Tritley, and we're going to review 9 face-offs from our recent scrimmage against Cheyenne Mountain. Let's start with the position and stance of the wing play. So as best I can tell across the way here, this is Jackson over here, and we've got Jack Wilson here. Just as a quick reminder, boys, I use names so that you know who I'm talking about in the video, which player I'm referring to, not to point out individuals. And so make sure none of you hang your head if your name gets used in this video, whether it's for the good or for the bad. We use the names just to identify which player on the field. We're all on the same team. So Jackson looks like he's got a good stance and he's oriented correctly. We want you coming from the far wing, either on the midfield line or 1 yard towards our own goalie. On the near side, we want players coming in on the 4 or 5 yard line. So in this case, Jack Wilson's just a little bit too far down towards midfield. We'd want to be on the 4 or 5 yard line. And just to reiterate, when I'm talking about this side of our face-off man, so the side that is closest to his rear end, and this is the near side. The far side is opposite the side that our player is on. It happens to be the side of the field that the opponent's player is on. That's the far side when we refer to wings. Wings are called near and far. We always want our long stick on the near side of the field, which is what we have here, and we want our short stick on the far side of the field. And again, we want our long stick coming in on the 4 or 5 yard line on a straight forward, and we want our far wing coming in on the midfield or the 1 yard line, again running perfectly straight. Now let's watch this in slow motion. If you notice, Jack Wilson gets a good start here. We're going to go over sprinting techniques, but he has a good initial stride and push in this case. If you look, Jack's foot strikes the hashes right there, and so he has a 1-step advantage on his opponent. That's the goal of the wing play. However, if you notice, we wanted to stay, remember, I wanted to stay on the 4 or 5 yard line out here in a straight line. Jack's angle took him in towards the ball, which is not what we want. And the reason you'll see in a second here. Jacob wins the clamp, pops it behind him. But what happened is Jacob, at the face-off, struggled to box out that man. He got around Jacob, and look, he kicks the ball forward right there. Now if Jack Wilson coming in, or a long stick midi coming in, is on the 4 or 5 yard line back here, then that kick goes straight to him, or he can defend it or otherwise mess up the ground ball. Let this play out. We do get in and recover well, set up our defense, take away any fast break opportunity there. Alright, the second face-off. Drop it down into slow motion here. So notice we get beat on the wing here. Now this player for the opponent, number 56, he was one of their fastest players. But if you notice, the ball comes out on this side. On our side, the ball squeaks out right here. So if we're taking that angle from the 4 or 5 yard line here, there's no reason we shouldn't be able to get that. On the far side, notice that I think that's Jackson, is too deep. He's coming in on the 3 yard line. We really want him coming in on the 1 or 0 yard line, on the midfield line or 1 yard behind. So right here, we should be able to get through this ground ball, because if you notice, all 3 of our players are closer to the ball than any of their 3 players. But look what happens. What we need to do here is scoop through the ball. Never approach a ground ball, stop, and try to scoop it and come back the direction you just came. Now Jacob does get through there, but the ball popped back out again. What we need to do, always go through a ground ball. Once you have control of it and you're cradling with your stick off one of the ear holes of your helmet, then you can curl around and run upfield. I'm going to play at normal speed here. Okay, one more thing on this. Talking to the attackman. So we just pressed the ball into our offensive area. We need the ball side attackman to come upfield and help. And it's hard to see in this view, but they need to come upfield closer to the sideline. Stay away from the middle of the field. We don't want you coming into this middle area, bringing your defender and making it harder on the midfielders. We want you up closer towards the sideline in that open space there, because Jacob needed help here, but he's got no one to pass to, and you're going to see in a second why. So right here, we notice this attackman, I think that's Camden, is cutting down to the goal like a backdoor cut. But the challenge is this is just too far of a pass for that kind of a backdoor cut. What we want are the two attackmen who are on the far side of the ball, the off-ball side of the field, to do this kind of work, backdoors and whatnot. The attackman who's on the ball side of the field during a face-off needs, again, to don't drift down towards the goal. Instead, work up into this open space corner so you can get a pass from the midi. So we lose the ball again, but we stay on it. Notice that Jackson stayed in the hunt there, fighting for the ground ball, so we are able to get it back. So we won the face-off. Next one. This one shows that the wings are just jogging in. We've got to sprint to our spot and then react along the way. So let's watch this in full speed so that we can see it. Notice how we're just jogging in, and then all of a sudden, their player punches through. Jacob wasn't able to box him out long enough, and he's able to get that ground ball and get moving on a fast break. Now all of a sudden we're running a chase. But look at this. There is no reason. Right now, all three of our players are behind the ball. Okay, there's the ball. And if we go back, you'll see that right here, when the ball pops out on our side, we have at least 2 players who ought to be able to make sure that that ball doesn't, or that opponent does not get past us. But he does. Okay, I want to show you one other thing on this. The far wing, which is Reagan over there, the far wing's job is to come in on the 0-1 line and fight for a ground ball, not to pick up the other team's face-off man if he happens to win the ground ball. The other team's face-off man is to be played by our long stick midi coming on the 4 or 5 yard line. And the reason being is our player, our long stick midi coming from the near wing, is able to push that player down the far wing better from this side versus the far side wing coming through and trying to push that player down to the wing that's closest to the screen here. And you'll see what I mean right there. So if we had been hustling down the 5 yard line, then that player picked up the ground ball about here, and Jack Wilson would have been able to come down that 5 yard line. As soon as that other player picked up the ground ball, he might not have been able to win the ground ball, but he then would have been able to push this player all the way down the far wing. And instead, watch how that player gets a fast break. They don't score on that opportunity, thankfully, but that's some ways to improve our wing play. On this next one, Jacob and Jackson just don't communicate as to who's going to take the ball. So you're going to see the ball pops right at their feet. Jacob boxes out very well. Look at that. Jackson and Jacob both have a shot at this ground ball right here. And they check it away from each other. Ball pops loose. Now the other thing that is a little concerning is, even though that happened, that's fine. Notice Jacob's going after the ball over here. But the other two players, the other two Raptors, are sitting back and starting to play defense already. You don't go after that ground ball with enough ferocity. You guys have got to be ferocious on the wings of ground balls. Okay, with the next one, we do give up a goal on this one. And again, the main reason is because we get outrun on the wings. Jacob pops this ball back perfectly. He wins the clamp, he pops it through his feet. That's a good roll. If our long stick midi is coming in on the near wing, with the speed that they should be, then that ball is going to be ours going the other way. Now, the camera falls off angle here, so it's tough to see exactly what happened on this ground ball. But nonetheless, we didn't win it. And then right here, Dylan allows the player to change directions, and he shoots and scores. So when we play defense, any time we play defense, not just face-offs, when you have this angle, so if you notice, Dylan could push his player out this way because that's the direction Dylan's facing. When you have that kind of an angle, do not let the player switch directions on you. Notice how right here, Dylan he over pursues, which gives his man the ability to roll back to the other side. That means in order to play defense, Dylan now has to drop step and run really fast to keep up. And this kid's pretty quick, so Dylan's drop step just can't keep up. So even though we lost that face-off, with solid wing play, we would not have given up a goal. On the next one, we got to go full speed. Look at how Kalani beats the other player, so the whistle just blew. Again, number 56 was the fastest player on their field, on their team. And here's Kalani on the wing. Notice how Kalani beats their fastest player. Now they get to this line at the same time. Okay, so they're going the same speed, but Jacob won the face-off and he popped it back. So here's the ball right here dribbling out. And because Kalani went fast enough to at least be even with that player, he's now got the perfect angle to come in and get that ground ball, which he does. Okay, now we run into a problem here. Notice how Kalani doesn't have any midfielders anywhere near him. He makes a smart pass over to Barish there, and I'm not sure why we didn't connect on that, but one way or the other, we didn't catch that. But in this space over here, one of our midfielders should have been helping Kalani somewhere on that far side. If you're a midfielder on a face-off, just because we won the ground ball does not mean you run in and play offense. Sometimes we still have to clear it. If you notice, Dylan's starting to come back over here because he saw that there's now a ground ball scrum. 3 more to go. On this one, Jacob gets a good pull. The camera goes off screen, so I can't see why we didn't get the ground ball. On this one, Jacob again gets the good pull, but here, Jacob has trouble boxing the kid out. So, that's how the kid gets around so fast. So if you're going to do that pull, you got to pull and box out your man. Now, right now, if you look, it's going to be tough to see who's going to get to this ball first. We've got Trevor coming in this way, and the other team has 1 and 2 players coming in. So this is going to be tough. Watch right here. What happens is Trevor pulls off, slows down just a bit to lay a check. And what I'm guessing here is Trevor was worried about checking this player's stick, and so he took just 1 or 2 steps off of full speed. When you have a ball between you and another player, go full speed all the way through the ball, and neither of you will probably get the ground ball. But that's better than letting the other team do it. Never let another player pick up a ground ball like that. And on the last one here, Kalani comes in and has a great shot at this ground ball. I want to point out a couple of things. First, this is the angle I'm talking about. This is a good view. Kalani's in the correct position because he's on the 4-yard line. So here, he's on the 4-yard line. We're on the 4 or the 5. And we want to run in at a straight line along that 4 or 5 yard line until we have confirmation as to which way the ball is going. On the far side, I'm not sure which player that is, but they're in the correct position. They're either on the midfield or the 1 yard line, and they want to run perfectly straight as well. So let's see what happens compared to my line that I would want Kalani to be on. So notice, he's running towards the ball, not down the line. Now, it turns out in this case, on the far side, we did come perfectly straight, which was good. It turns out that the ball did pop loose right there, so Kalani happened to be in the correct position, but or in a position to get that ground ball. But Kalani should be back here at that point, and if he was, then I'm pretty sure Jacob would have been able to just go through that ground ball himself. But since Kalani was there, Jacob pulls off. Notice how Kalani stopped running and bent over to get the ball, and that's why we didn't get it. So what you want to do again, like we saw a few minutes ago, always go through a ground ball, come out the other side, and when you come out the other side, then you can roll away from pressure and get to an open space. Now what I love on this is Kalani stays on. Look at him stay on that man. And watch, right here he's going to throw a wicked lift check. Look at that beautiful lift check. Now it's a 2-on-1 ground ball and Kalani still won't give up. That's great tenacity, very ferocious. Carter came in and he won a 2-on-1 ground ball in the attack zone. That is great hustle on ground balls. That's it, boys. Thanks for watching.